The art program at Her Majesty's Prison Dodds has proven to be a successful rehabilitative measure, giving several inmates a new positive purpose, while at the same time inspiring not only those behind the fences, but members of the public who view their work. Over the years, the art program at the prison has repeatedly produced outstanding artists who have won NIFCA awards in the visual and creative arts. On March 10, 2013, the work of 3 inmates was put on display at the Second Chance for 3 Men from the East exhibition at the main library of the University of the West Indies, Cave Hill campus.
The artistic talent on display here this morning is very symbolic and significant. It forces us to examine and appreciate the artwork of 3 men whose relevance ordinarily would have been dismissed in our generally unforgiving society. These 3 men, Andy Archer, Curtis Norville, and Randy White, produced the art on display as prisoners at Her Majesty's Prison, hence the title of the exhibition, A Second Chance for 3 Men from the East.
Former coordinator and instructor of the art program, Coral Bernadine Pollard, was present at the opening. She has been a professional fine artist and graphic designer for 40 years, and her work can be seen on murals at the West Wing of Parliament and the National Cultural Foundation. Ms. Bernadine Pollard has had a long history with the Barbados Prison Service since being brought on board by former art coordinator and tutor at the prison, Daphne Fenty Jiggets. It was Ms. Jiggets who invited her to work with the female inmates at Glenderry. This led to them entering NIFCA and winning a number of medals. After Ms. Jiggets left the prison, Ms. Bernadine Pollard took over as the coordinator and teacher, a post she held up until May 2012. But leaving the prison did not mean leaving the inmates or ex-offenders.
There are so many of them out here. And consistently, even from the time of Mr. Gates, they have been winning the top awards at NIFCA. The Ivan Payne has always been the prison, the Marjorie Blackman, and the Carl Hagen sometimes. So it has been a tradition, the prison. Even we see the example of Andy. Sometimes when folks left, a fella called Folks, he was the top one that will win the awards. And people would say, well, it's gone now. And then Randy just dropped into that space. I know Randy has not left the prison, but he has gone into the computers and so, because he has just a year or 2. And Andy appeared, just like, Andy has only been in there for about 2 years.
She explained that several artists within the prison were extremely talented, and the program fostered camaraderie, with the more skillful often coaching others.
And each person is different. How I would teach one person, and especially in the prison, you get different emotions, you get different people. Randy White, he is something else, because he started. He had another job, but he would just appear and do little pencil pieces. But I realized that he had that talent from outside. He said somebody told his mother he would be good, but then, when they go on the block, tattoos and graffiti, etc. But Randy told me he was doing pencil drawings, which that one up there is the first, and he got a silver at NIFCA pencil. Then he said, Miss Bernadine, I'm ready to paint. And that Fragile was the first, believe it or not. And he got the UNICEF award for that. Randy has a long way to go. Randy is international. All of these men, sometimes I don't know what to do with them. They come out and they are so good. So what we're thinking of right now, Ryan Phillips, who's public relations, we said there are too many of them out there. Let us get them all together and hold one big exhibition. So that is what we are now thinking of. My concern is for the ones that are still coming in, because I don't know if I should say this, if you will take it off, but there is some kind of link being, should I use the word criminal? There's a link because they can create all kinds of things to do wrong. And yet when these men come inside there, their minds are so that they can produce really good, and there's no mistake, some link is there.
There are many success stories stemming from the program, with ex-offenders enrolling in the Barbados Community College to attain a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, working overseas, and some establishing local businesses. The former tutor told us that having their efforts recognized at NIFCA encourage ambition and a competitive spirit among the inmates. But there is more to it than winning an award.
I want them to look into the work and see the men. I mean, they were not able to come and visit today. When you look into Andy's work, what is that? A father's love, a son's joy. A lot of them paint from their own experience. The one-stop shop, you see Andy's childhood. Andy said he remembers a little boy going into a shop like that. What they have locked away in their minds. What they have locked away in their minds, they paint. So you get to know them. You get to meet them.
So maybe this is a time for a call for artists to volunteer their time to...
Well, that would be good for artists to go volunteer, you know, and maybe they might get somebody worse than me or somebody better than me. But it is there. There are lots of good artists in Barbados, and artists approach in different ways, and I am hopeful. But they still have some of the experienced boys help the younger ones, but then most of those boys, they blow. The fellow that built the boat, he's leaving the end of this year. You know who gonna build a boat? No, but then the surprise you, somebody will come now and do something that you so shoot.
My name is Andy Archer. I'm 33 years old. I entered the art program here at Dodds because I always had an interest in art. I was drawing from 6 years old, so I thought it was always something that I felt great passion for. Coming through school, I never did well academically and found out that I was ADD at some point. Art is one of those things that seems to calm me down. I find art to be natural. And separate to academic wise, I can do it, I understand it. The complexity of it, to me, is rather simple.
Andy Archer is currently one of the prison's top artists and is a multiple NIFCA award winner, having copped the 2011 and 2012 Ivan Payne Awards. He credits Miss Bernadine Pollard with helping him hone his artistic talents, and he is passionate about painting bygone Barbados.
I love this era. I grew up with my grandparents, and a lot of the items that you may see in the piece are things that are icons in Barbados. Old lamps, flake can, a number of other items. One of my focus in doing pieces like this is to show the younger generation in Barbados a piece of Barbadian culture which is dying. This particular piece is very unique in that it has a lot of personal meaning to me because it's dedicated to my mom, who was deceased, so I dedicated the piece to her. This is me and my siblings. So this is like a replication of events in my past. The grass bed, which is something that went yesteryear.
We happened upon Andy a few months later as he began work on another piece he intended to enter in NIFCA 2013.
I consider this to be very lucky because the last time you saw a piece I was doing, it actually went on to win the Ivan Payne again.
So maybe I'm your lucky.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much.
Tell us what this one is.
This particular piece is an old backyard Bajan scene. Of course, I love doing old authentic Bajan pieces. This particular piece I thought would be interesting because a lot of the focal points in the piece are things we no longer do or see in Barbados as such. The pipe, chicken board.
He explained that other than being an avenue for income, art also helps him to cope with the prison environment. He is thankful that there are diverse programs at the institution geared towards the development of inmates.
I am now taking this opportunity to slow down, reflect at my life, look back a little bit, and I found out that I'm incredible at art. I've never given myself that opportunity, so I think it's an incredible thing they're doing by allowing inmates to participate in a number of other activities. Not only art, but there's the educational programs, there's a number of other programs, second chance, and a number of other programs going on. And I think it's very good for the inmates to have something to put their focus into, rather than getting back into trouble and having something else to do.
What distracted you from your art and into other things?
Wow. Well, like most young people, it starts with what we choose to not recognize most, which is peer pressure. And a lot of people think that peer pressure doesn't exist, but it does. And compounding it, I came up in a troubled environment from a very poor background. So that is, let's say, a recipe for disaster, because in itself, coming from a poor background and then going to a block looking for comfort, that sort of thing, looking for friendship, and one thing led to another, I started dealing with drugs, guns got involved, violence, one thing led to another, and it just took off. One of the contributing factors would have been that I'm from a one-parent home. Mom left, and coming up with my father-in-law, I found it hard to cope with that. So that in itself also contributed to me leaving home and going looking for love, in a sense. It spiraled and spiraled, and things eventually rolled on. I ended up here. And a lot of people don't like to admit that they made a mistake somewhere along the way, but we have made mistakes. Some more serious than others. I very disheartened sometimes to think about the past, because in my particular instance, unfortunately, I caused a life. That is a burden I have to carry for the rest of my life, and it isn't easy dealing with that. I have 5 sons whom I love very much, and I don't want them to come out in a society thinking that violence is cool. It's okay because dad did it. So me changing my life is very important to me, because I have to show my children that there are other things I care just as much about. And the violence and that sort of thing, that was not me being me. This is me. I was trying to be something else at a period of time where I didn't know any better. Unfortunately, lesson learned the hard way. I was charged for murder and firearm possession. Because of the complexity of the case, I won my case on the grounds of self-defense. It was a gang-related activity, and I am now doing time on the firearm.
Although Andy's main competitor, Randy White, has also been drawing all his life, he only started painting after being incarcerated some 13 years ago. He has 1 more year left in his sentence. Randy, who won the 2008 Ivan Payne Award with the piece Pages, has been described as an artist with international capacity.
When I was outside, I didn't have the mindset I had. I matured in prison. My mindset has changed, my outlook at life has changed. So, I started to looking for things to do instead of looking out. Because when I was outside, that's probably what got me in jail, looking out, looking for things to spend my time doing. A lot of us in life, a lot of us when we're outside, we waste a lot of time. We waste a lot of time. We are more about what people could do for us. You know, we are not about what we can do for ourselves. And that's basically what changed about me. You know, I realized that I could do for myself. I should be doing for myself more than I should be expecting people to do for me.
Randy entered 5 pieces in NIFCA and won bronze, silver and gold medals, 2 Ivan Payne Awards of Excellence, 2 Incentive Awards and a UNICEF Award in 2007. But he does not paint to win awards.
You know, I get up, I see a canvas, I see paints, and I just want to do something. You know, I have a feel in me to create, so that's why I do it. You know, sometimes it don't come out how I want it, you know, but it is there. You know, I just keep on doing it until whatever I see on the canvas or what is in me comes out.
His plan is to leave the island to study when he finishes his sentence. I asked him what advice he would give to those on the outside, but Randy didn't believe that people would respect or adopt his advice.
Being in prison, I don't think that really truly society wants to hear prison. You know? So any message I have to send, you know, is just going to fall to deaf ears, get you one ear country next. So I won't waste my time trying to tell people out there what to do. You know? Because whenever then they're going to look back and all over here in prison. This is Barbados society, we know it, you know? So I won't waste my time. That's true.
Realize your man is just a man, so that's why you not be judge no one. Cause in a situation they make decision to get.
Her Majesty's Prison Dodds is also home to a vibrant performing arts group. One of the main writers and performers is Peter Ford. His story is one that is all too familiar.
I was at school and I got caught with the wrong crowd, and from there everything went downhill because I wasn't really interested in learning. So then I found myself hanging with the wrong crowd, got kicked out of school at 15, went working ZR van. And when you're working ZR, you have to try to live up to a certain standard or everyone will want to take advantage of you. So then trying now to impress my friends and keep a standard so that no one will disrespect, I found myself going downhill some more and in more trouble. Then I found myself here.
Peter was convicted in 1999 and is scheduled for release in 2018. Since being incarcerated, he has spent a lot of his time writing, a talent he never knew he possessed before.
I never even wrote a letter before I came to prison. I never did any sort of reading, nothing. Now, let's say the only thing we read outside was the newspaper, the court section. Never really got involved. I actually surprised myself, but from Glenderry, I joined a program with Father Paul, who was in charge of MRG, Mission Rehabilitation Group. And then that's how the Glenderry Journal at that time came about. And I was promoted to secretary, so I had to do a lot of writing. And so then I wanted to contribute to the book also. So that's how I found myself in that position, beginning to write. Still at Glenderry was still, you know, trying to live up to people's expectations, not really focusing on myself, so I was still find myself trying to take a few shortcuts. But after the fire in 2005, when I moved to Harrison Point, then I found that the way that I am, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense trying to cut shortcuts because when you leave here, a shortcut can only bring you back, and coming back is not my intention. So I decided, well, I can stick on the straight and narrow, I can do what I know I gotta do, and I can try to develop myself a little better. While doing that, then I also recognized that there was a weakness in the youth mentally. A lot of them can't think for themselves, they're not educated, and they try very hard to do some of the same things that I was doing when I was younger. So I also began working with them. I try to talk to them, try to show them where they're going wrong, try to show them a different way, try to put thoughts in the mind, you know, like when you leave here, you gotta be able to help yourself because your family may not be there for you, and you got to be able to look for yourself. You can't depend on people, and snatching bags and snatching chains ain't gonna make it, because that's the only prison again.
Everybody living fast life. The boy, they don't care about themselves no more, man.
Boy, listen, people here, they ain't taking this age thing serious at all, at all, at all, at all, at all.
He is now editor of the prison newsletter and is proud of the work he has done and the response he has received.
When you see the finished product, and then you know that it is actually going to go and help people. Like Over the Wall is used for crime prevention. I felt real good to know that's going to go there and it's going to help some youth. the mother's book, the book to our children, the finished product. Again, when they were finished, I felt real good because I know, well, these can let the people outside know that we in here are not all bad. We can do something good, and some of us are on the road to change if we have not changed already.
2011 was the first time that the prison's drama group entered NIFCA with a play co-written with HIV coordinator Omita Ford. The piece was well received and won 7 awards. But although copping awards is important, he hopes his legacy will be his efforts to save other young people from a life of crime.
I don't want any glory or nothing like that. I just want to be civil. Peter really, he was A, when he left society, he came to prison, he moved on to B, and when he left prison, he made sure that C was in place, that he can stop other people from coming to prison also. My message to the young people is that crime does not pay. Even though you may seem to receive some benefits at the beginning, you have a way of getting something and it seems easy, it does not pay. Because I remember times when can't sleep home. Every time you hear a noise outside, you're jumping up. You're scared as the police. You may have done something that another person who feels is a bad boy want to kill you, and you cannot be comfortable. Why put yourself in that position to do all of these things when you can just do what you know is right and stay out of trouble? Keep away from prison, keep away from trouble. Choose your friends wisely. Because everyone is doing something, it doesn't mean that it's right. Sometimes you have to stand alone, neglect some of your friends, and do what you know and say your heart is right.
I have studied, I have thought, I have searched, I have sought. I have cried, I have pleaded, and been utterly defeated. I have apologized and recognized, absolutely compromised. All that is left is to admit. All that remains is to submit to guilt.
Both the male and female prisons have small libraries, and Jan Lewis is the lone volunteer librarian. She moved to Barbados from Wales in 1998, where she worked at a university library. After moving, a colleague asked her if she would set up a library in the female section of Glenderry Prison.
Which I did in July 2000. And then it sort of carried on from there. It started off at 1 day a week, and then it went on to 2 days a week. And then the superintendent asked me would I take over the male library as well. So in Glenderry, I just started to get the male library together when, unfortunately, the riot occurred. So we were set back a long, long way then, losing stock, obviously. And I moved up to Harrison Point, where we worked out of a container, and then into Dodds, and here we are.
The goal is to provide support for the educational program and offer recreational reading materials for inmates in their housing units. Reading is a form of escape, even more valuable for offenders.
They can't come to the library, so I take a cart to them every day, and they choose from the cart. They also obviously take educational books. They read and study in their cells, so I provide that as well. The response is incredible. I would say about 94% of all inmates will choose a book from me. With over 1,000 books, 1,000 inmates, that's a lot of inmates who actually take books from the cart every single day. I do a program with remand men, teaching them how to actually read a book and really enjoy a book and review it. And I did one yesterday. And I have a lot of feedback during that time, during the 2 hours that we're together. And they tell me of all the books that they like and why they enjoy one author more than another author, and how it is their escape, that they can just close off if they're really enjoying a book, how they can shut their eyes to everything else that's going on around them, and they do get some sort of peace of mind when they're reading. Obviously, inspirational books help a lot as well. They just get one book a month, because it actually takes a month to get round all the units. But they do share the books. And as long as I get them back and they're in good condition, I don't have a problem with that.
The library has also published 3 books through a program with a prison in the United Kingdom.
Well, in the year 2008, I was approached by a prison in the UK, because I have a friend who works there as a creative teacher, creative writing teacher. And she had an idea to do a book that she called Breaking Free, and it would be from Bridgend in South Wales to Bridgetown in Barbados. So we got together and we did the book with inmates' writings, poetry and prose, and that was to be used for the anniversary of the emancipation of slavery, and that's why it was called Breaking Free. And that went for sale in the UK actually. It never went for sale in Barbados, and the copies that we have that we gave as gifts. And then from that, the inmates here were very excited that their work had actually been published in the UK, and asked me, could we do one in Dodds? Could we do one here? And I said, well, we could, but we need to get funding because this is going to be expensive. And I was very, very lucky to have funding from the Peter Moores Trust, the Barbados Trust, and they gave me money to do the first book. So I felt that the best thing that we could do would be crime prevention. I wanted to reach out to the schools in Barbados, to the secondary schools, and actually get them to have a glimpse into prison life. So the students could read stories from inmates themselves to tell them stay away from drugs, stay away from crime, and stay away from Dodds. So that book was published in 2009. We did 1,200 copies, and I drove around all the secondary schools and presented every principal with 50 copies. The contact between inmates and their own families is very, very limited, and it concerned me that they don't have a lot of contact with children. So I had the idea to do a book that we called To Our Children, and I managed again to get funding for it, and we got it published for Christmas last year, and every single inmate in the prison was allowed to send one copy home to a chosen child. The problem then occurred that a lot of the inmates have more than one family, they have split families. So the superintendent actually gave permission for them to purchase a second copy, with the money coming back to me, which I've now put into doing a book for mothers. And we're just about to get that ready to go to the publisher this week, and that will go out this Christmas to every inmate's mum or chosen member of the family.
The book, which was distributed in time for Christmas, was well received and has proven to be an inspiration for the inmates who contributed.
Often people ask me, you know, who teaches these men to write like this? They don't. I collect all the work from them in their cells, in their quads. I don't edit too much. I sometimes edit for length, because obviously the size of the book is limited because of cost, and I want to get as many inmates' work into the books as I can. Every inmate who gives me a suitable piece of work will get their piece published, and then they are very, very proud of what they've achieved.
If you're interested in donating books to the library, donating your time, or if you have a skill that can help in any of the areas highlighted in this program, contact Her Majesty's Prison Dodds at 416-6900. In the next edition of Behind the Fences, volunteer Matt Fingal will speak about his work at the prison. You'll also meet some of the inmate support groups who assist in the Second Chance initiative.